Welcome to the final problem, problem number 37 from the January 2015 Algebra Regents exam. In this question, we've got a garden that is originally a square, and it's being adjusted so that one side length is doubled while the other side is decreased by 3 meters. I think we'll go ahead and get started by trying to visualize this situation here. So initially the garden is a square. Now we don't know the side length, so we'll call it x. And then, of course, to find the area of that square, we would multiply x times itself. So x squared would represent the area of that garden. Now, it's been adjusted so that one side is doubled in length, so it's now being transformed to a rectangle, where one length is doubled, so instead of x, it would be 2x. And then the other side is decreased by 3 meters. So instead of it having a distance of x, it'll be x minus 3. Now, if we wanted to find the area of this rectangular garden, we would multiply 2x times x minus 3. Now, the other important piece of information we get is that the new rectangular garden will have an area that's 25% more than the original square garden. So that means if we were to take 25% more of the area of the original garden, and we could calculate that by doing 1.25 times x squared. And that, by the way, is because that's we're kind of multiplying it by 125%. That would increase the amount of the area by 25%. It's kind of like 100% plus 25. Anyway, so this represents the area of the new rectangular garden. So we can state that this is equal to this, 2x times x minus 3. And so this is an equation that we could use to actually solve for the original side length of the garden. And because we're we're told to ask to explain how the equation models this situation, you can see the explanation I gave down at the bottom here. I said that the length is doubled, which is represented by 2x. The width is reduced by 3, which is represented by x minus 3. And 1.25 times x represents the original area being increased by 25%. So I think it's a pretty good explanation of why this equation here works. Okay, now moving on to the final part of this problem, we need to determine the area of the new rectangular garden. So of course, in order to do that, we got to find out what x is. And we're going to do that by solving this equation. So I'll just write it out up here. 1.25x squared equals, and then actually I'm going to save a step right here and expand this. So this would become 2x squared minus 6x. All right, so we can start by subtracting 1.25x squared from both sides. Canceling that out, and we'll get 0 equals 0.75x squared minus 6x. At this point, we could factor out an x, and we would get 0.75x minus 6. And so we're going to set what's inside the brackets here to be equal to 0. And if we do that, we would get 0.75x equals 6 if we move the 6 over. And then we're going to divide by 0.75. And we get that x is equal to 8. So now what we can do is take a look at the area of the rectangular garden, and that's represented by 2x times x minus 3, and instead of x, we're going to write 8. So it's going to be 2 times 8 times 8 minus 3. That's the same thing as 16 times 5, which is 80. And our units would be in square meters. So it would be 80 meters squared is the area of the rectangular garden. All right, that's a pretty involved question. I hope that was helpful and that all made sense. And thanks for visiting JD's Regents Preparation.